Yes, I must resurrect him. I will bring him back for some role play. Rise from the crypt, Poteet. Are you ready for some role play?
Hell yeah.
Welcome to the Hidden Roleplay Podcast, where we discuss deception and hidden role games. I'm your host, Kyle. Behind the scenes is Alex. Joining me is my co-host, Graham. How you doing, buddy?
My throat's a little sore now, but I'll soldier through. How are you?
Perfect for podcasting. I'm awesome. And we are once more alerted to the presence of an imposter among us. And how are you, Jeff?
I was in electrical. It was Graham.
Probably.
A
Checks
likely
out.
story. So you modding semi-regularly now, Jeff? You plan to do this all the time? Are you back in the game?
Yeah, I mean, well, I now have a formula that I can literally reuse and create a game in the span of 30 minutes. So it's so little effort that I can actually do this again. I kind of enjoy that. This is like my favorite type. Yeah, no, I mean, I basically am gonna take credit for your hard work, and people will remember my name for this style.
They already do. Is there any pressing questions you have, Graham, or do you just want me to get into it?
So we just get into it. Let's make this as quick as the game was.
Yeah, I mean, let's address. Well, do we want to?
First, I just want to ask you, like, what specifically you changed from this game to last game? There was a couple of things, right?
Yes. So big changes were one. With regards to flavor.
I didn't say this yet, but we're talking about HeyTrainer Mafia 27. Welcome to Mira. It's the second of these Among Us flavored Mafia games that we played with.
Yeah.
About the same core 13 people.
Because 2020 may be far gone, but Among Us is still popular in my old mind. So
what a boomer.
Yeah, so I guess I am getting to that age, huh? Right, so big changes. I really enjoyed how last game went for anyone who watched the podcast last time, but there was definitely some changes I wanted to make. First one was flavor. Last game, there was a lot of town confirming flavor within the town, and they were using flavor to basically soft confirm town right away. Additionally, Mafia was given absolutely nothing when it came to flavor. I didn't tell them the format. I didn't tell them what it included. I didn't tell them anything. I just kind of gave them a blank ... and said, go swim. This time I made the flavor a lot more abstract and not connected to any other player. Additionally, every single Mafia was given a template. They were basically told 6 to 8 lines, something about your past, something about your present and how you got your job at Derp, something about your goals, and something about your costume, so that they would be on the same page as everyone else. I also made it a point, and we'll talk about this later, of certain players' play styles and strategies to not homogenize all the flavor. So I didn't make every single flavor the exact same in order to give both the Mafia more mobility to hide and give the town more false leads that they had to shift through actual social interactions. I basically wanted to keep that flavor in there to start the day one conversation, but I didn't want flavor to be the puzzle key to solve who Mafia was, and it really wasn't, although Mafia kind of had a role in that. Second change was the voting. So in the last pod, Kyle recommended that we just randomly hand out roles. I thought about that, but I kind of like the idea of voting still, because again, it's more stuff to talk about to try and decipher what people's motivations were. So this time, everyone got a normal vote. Mafia's vote counted as a +1, just like everyone else. Additionally, there was no restrictions on. In the last game, Mafia could only get the priest if they got +2 more votes than the next highest voted town member. This time it was just free game. So Mafia could have gotten all 5 roles in the first night if they had played really well day one. Additionally, Mafia could vote for themselves if they wanted to, not for themselves, but for each other, to help their buddies get the abilities. Next change was this was another one of Kyle's suggestions. Mafia now had the ability to, if there was more than one Mafia remaining, then they could bypass the whole you can't night kill someone you pass an ability to once, and they could bypass the you can't roadblock someone you pass an ability to once. And then once there was only one Mafia left, they had free reign to basically break those rules as much as they wanted. And then other than that, there was kind of a few minor tweaks here and there based on the rule changes I made last game to basically the stuff that auto-confirmed town. For the most part, those were really the only 3 big changes that I made.
So did you feel that they all had the desired effect?
Yes, I did. I was actually really happy with how this game played out. There was one more I forgot about, and that is that I banned all identity hunting. So you couldn't try and guess people's real identities. You couldn't sit there and try and use their real identities as evidence against them. And basically, no usernames came up except for one, and that was only because someone was making an analogy, not because they were referencing someone. And yes, I think all these changes went really well. This game's last game was definitely kind of my beta build, and this one's a lot closer to the final version, if not the final version. I was really happy with this game for the most part.
What is your area for things you would want to fix or tweak?
Flavor, I think. I'm, and we can talk more about that later. I think there's a nice there's a middle ground that I'm really trying to find between making flavor that conversation starter and people using it.
I'm curious why you went so far away from what I had in the base game, where it was just like 2 or 3 sentences.
Well, there was a couple reasons. One, I wanted to test giving the guidelines to the Mafia, but keeping the format generally the same as last game. I wanted to see if Mafia could basically come up with stuff, because ProHawk made a point post game, and that was that not everyone is an amazing storyteller, and I GM D&D games. I do a lot of storytelling. I'm always telling extravagant lies in Mafia, and that's something I need to recognize, that everyone can make up a story on the fly. And I kind of wanted to gauge the limits of how fair/unfair I was being with longer flavor. And also, I still want Mafia to potentially get caught on bad flavor if they make up something that sounds weird. But I also want to give them a lot of room to again maneuver. So if they come up with like a weird story, but then they can justify it, then that's them telling a good lie. Whereas I feel like having super simple flavor, just one line, I guess my mentality is that the same reason that I don't go the no flavor route. Would it just be one line? Everyone says they're one line. I'm an engineer hired by Derp, and then everyone goes, okay, well that's useless, and they move on, and it doesn't generate any conversation or do anything other than just exist.
Yeah, I don't know what the right answer is either.
Yeah.
But
So that's definitely kind of it.
I do see that there are, pros and cons to both sides. Graham, what's your opinion on this?
I'm going to start this with a question. How long? I vaguely remember the flavor in the initial game that started this, the Phoenix Wright one.
There was like one character who had
character limit.
No, there wasn't a character. There was like an average character count that I had that I kept to. It was like 40 characters or something. I don't remember.
Except me as the alpha. Me as the alpha, I had the longest. I had like a paragraph of flavor.
I'm talking about the town one specifically.
Oh yeah.
There was like an average count that I kept to, and like there was an upper bound and a lower bound. Like the lower bound was the person who was like the miller without being explicitly the miller. What is the knight called? The Steel Samurai. He was just like one sentence, and that was supposed to stick out a little bit. And then there were some town people who had as many as 4 sentences, and then I gave them the wiki so that Mafia could go to the wiki to look up their own stuff about their own character to add.
Maybe that would. Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say 5 to 6 sentences feels right.
Well, and I was gonna say that maybe something I'll explore next time is giving varying lengths. So maybe one town member does just have 1 line of text, but then another one has like 4 or 5, and then maybe that'll give town more conversations like, oh, you only have 1 line. Is that just a mafia who knows that there may only be 1 line and he's trying to take an easy route by not making anything up? And then you can go into actually looking at social cues. And then maybe it's the exact opposite. Someone thinks, oh, big brain play. Someone's making up 5 to 6 lines for town cred.
Yeah. It has its own intrigue to it. Let's go on. Let's just jump into the events of this game. What few there are to really dig into.
I forgot one other big change. Volunteering for specialties. That was a big one. We can get into that when we talk about day 1 and events and all that.
Well, only 12 players did that. One of them got assigned a specialty because that's the first event of the game. Is the very first post is Subaru saying that he was assigned weapons.
Oh boy, so let me give some context for this. So first off, let me just quickly go through colors and names just so I don't have to constantly do it. Red was Jellyfisher, blue was Darth Pika, green was Superstar, pink was Tomahawk, orange was Awast, yellow was JD Koopa, black was Renfield, white was Master Mukau, cyan was Atarian. I'm never gonna say his name right. Lime is Prohawk, tan was Springtime Bugling, HT Special was Poteet, and Subaru WRX was Matty Stacks. Interestingly enough, before we jump into day 1, Jellyfisher chose the exact same color and costume as last game. Superstar chose the exact same color as last game. Tomahawk chose the exact same color as last game. Master Mukau chose the exact same color and costume as last game. Atarian chose the exact same color as last game. Prohawk chose the exact same color as last game. I'm sensing a pattern here.
Yeah,
Who didn't choose?
It didn't feel very anonymous. I would say like after a few pages, you could tell who like everybody was, but like maybe 4 or 5 people.
The people who responded to the Google forums would say otherwise. But
Go on.
yeah, but right. So day 1 starts out with So I posted the day 1 begins update at 10:03. At 10:04, not even a minute later, Matty Stack, Subaru WRX, posts that his name is Boris Cho, which was his name, and posts that he was given the task specialty weapons. Well, in the rules and in the post update, I posted the specifics on volunteering for specialties. Matty Stacks was very drunk, and he also, I think I sent him a message saying, "Did you read the update?" And he says, "No." And I said,
it was
"I
a
can
good
tell."
example. We always say like this, that Mafia. We always say Mafia does this, and then people are like, "No, I did this as Town," where like you write a premeditated post or you've thought about your post before the update goes up, and I was like, "Oh, finally, here's an example of Mafia doing that."
Well, and here's the thing, and Maddie, if you're listening, just know this is I'm still my friend, so don't take any of this too seriously. I was messaged and he said, because I gave everyone their roles at the exact same time, about an hour before the game started, and that's another thing we're going to discuss later on. But and he sent me a message saying you only gave Mafia an hour to come up with a fake claim, and he said that wasn't enough time. But then he takes all of 30 seconds to come up with a fake claim as soon as the game starts. And if he had just waited until Red posted 5 minutes later, he would have not fallen for the task specialty trap that he put himself in. So, yeah. So, that was our first big event.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pass it back on to you.
Yeah, that was already a conversation starter because he got like 3 or 4 votes immediately, including his own vote on himself. And
which is not a good strategy.
It's a strategy that won the last game. What are you talking about?
The self-voting thing, you are correct. It did win the last game. I think it's a bad strategy. I think last game was an anomaly on that because self-voting is dumb because it doesn't make you look good. If you're Town or Mafia, it doesn't make you look good. And I don't get.
I think that instead of saying that it's like black or white, like it's good or bad, I think it's going to be like any kind of meta game where there was like a chance to exploit it in one meta game, and now that it's like a known commodity, it's definitely not as good.
Yeah, because all 3 Mafia tried some variation of it this game, and none of them were successful in it. Now, granted, there's surrounding context for all 3 of those Mafia for why it was less effective.
Mm-hmm.
But because, by that same context as Town in Duck Dinner, I advocated for, kill me, kill me, kill me, and you yourself argued that was a bad strategy as Town.
Mm-hmm.
So, context, I guess.
Graham, what do you think about self-votes at this point?
I hate them. I absolutely hate them. I think I've been pretty staunch on that this entire.
But what if you were Mafia? Would
life
you
of
do
this
it?
pod.
Would you do it?
No, two of the 3 Mafia did it on day 1 in this game. That's not a good luck, my guy.
Well,
I don't think it's going to stop
anytime
anytime soon, personally.
Like Subaru WRX posted, you guys are right. If he post when he voted for himself, he didn't even post any context. He had 1 vote on him, and he only had 1 vote, period, and it was orange. And then he was he had 2 votes. Cyan also voted. Then he just votes for himself right away. No context. That's all the post says, is he votes for himself. And then Blue, his fellow Mafia, says our silent friend Subaru isn't looking very Subaru.
Hey, maybe that was post of the game. We're just trying to brainstorm. Who said that?
Blue, his fellow Mafia.
Yeah, we can nominate that first Gummy potentially. Speaking of Blue, Blue tries to deflect right off of that. I ended up pointing this out later on day 2, saying something like, but maybe this is a big brain play where like they're trying to like see if anyone wants to like make an easy vote of them to get them out, an easy ejection, and see who takes the bait. And so like Blue comes to their aid a little bit here without getting too close, and then White maybe bails them out in the worst way possible, which is to deflect attention onto themselves by claiming a character who was already in the game. Graham, do you want to elaborate on what happened there potentially, or do you want me to pass it over to Jeff?
No, I can do a little bit of it. So I was Master Mukau, and he was given a name. I don't remember what it was. Jeff could get to it if
Feral
you need
Tea
to.
Pike. Oh no,
No,
that's the
that's
name
what
he
he
claimed.
claimed.
Yeah.
No, Peter Pike. Was it just straight up Peter Pike?
It was Peter Pike.
Okay, yeah, which is the name of the elusive Pika Bro, whatever that doesn't exist on HeyTrainer. And Mukau, thinking that this name wasn't going to be believable enough, decided to use a different name and claim that he was Feral Tea Pike, who was in the game. So that was a problem.
Yeah, and look, if I feel like if the mod gives you a safe claim, there's a reason that they give that to you. And my intention when I put that name there was, look, town is going. First off, there were multiple people who were gonna know who Peter was. Springtime Bugling, Darth Pika, Jellyfisher, and a few other people who happen to know who the elusive fourth Pika Bro is. He's not a secret. And the other thing is that in my mind, if you claim Peter, and of course people would go, oh, that's just a normal name, but then you would have inevitably have gotten someone going, oh, well, Mafia wouldn't have just claimed something so weird because that's how HT Town does. It was actually designed to trap the town. I put that in there as a gimme for the Mafia to trap the town with the whole, well, Mafia would never put something so incriminating, but instead it trapped the Mafia, and I couldn't predict that happening. But my thing is I don't think that's what got White ejected. It was how he damage controlled it. So I think, and you guys can tell me as town members, had White come out and said, guys, my name was actually Peter, I was scared that it wasn't believable, so I went for another Pike, and it turned out to be Pink. Instead, he kind of goes. Well, and would you guys had seen that and maybe given him a little benefit of the doubt if he had just come out immediately after being called up by Pink and said, guys, I messed up, as opposed to what he did?
Maybe more so than him blaming you, the mod, and then you not being able to give us any clarification. That feels like a smoking gun right off the bat.
Yes. Well, he does a couple things. First thing he does is he kind of attacks Pink and says maybe Pink's the one who's lying. And there was some back and forth on the town on that, but generally everyone was like, well, we have to figure this out. It has to be one of them that we get rid of. And then at that point you have to. And then, but yes, he basically said, well, Absol gave me the wrong name. He gave us both Feral T Pike. And yes, because both Pink tried to ask me if he could confirm, and I told White personally, I said, look, I can't confirm that, but I won't stop you from claiming it.
Right.
So,
It wouldn't have made a difference to me
point,
personally. Like, if someone counterclaims your name, like that's something that needs to be figured out on day one.
Yeah.
So.
No, for sure. At that point, and interestingly enough, what this led to is it led to a confusion among the town. The town thought maybe that Mafia had to make up their names this go around, which is something that Cyan would follow later on. But yeah, I guess like just, and the other thing too is that if you're not sure on something, you can always ask the mod. Be like, hey man, did you give me this name on purpose? Is it supposed to be Peter? I don't know. I'm not trying to be too rough on him, but that's we had two Mafia basically blow their cover with their first post of the game, and it's only page 3. Meanwhile, Blue is understandably freaking out because as far as he is concerned, his team has self-destructed and they haven't even had a night chat yet.
That sounds very familiar.
So,
reminds me of the last game.
I compared your game to when I was talking to Darth Peak. I was like, I would suggest you, go watch the podcast, go look at last game, and maybe that'll help you calm down a bit. And he was, and of course, as night 1 goes around, the Mafia goes from bad to worse. But they were in a worse position than you were last game by far, just because of how quickly it happened. And
yeah, I mean,
another thing. So yeah, White's damage control was bad. He blamed me, then he self-voted and then he attacked Pink. So that was just none of that was good, and the lie wasn't necessary. Just was not good. Subaru WRX, on the other hand, he self-voted. Then he unvoted and said, "I am no longer the best eject candidate," and that was his reason for unvoting. He was drunk playing, and then he also said, "Sear me if you think I'm Mafia." He didn't have the anti-sear.
Oops.
He didn't have protection from the sear.
I still don't blame him totally for saying that, though, because it makes you sound confident at least. Yeah. And I'm sure there are some seers who would like read the game and be like, "Well, that could be just a waste."
I guess, but when there's publicly an anti-seer that exists in the game, then that particular bluff loses potential because Poteet seared Subaru on the basis of if he's Mafia, he's got the anti-seer, and that's why he made that bluff.
Right. But I mean, if he doesn't say that, after the post he made, the first post of the game, like not saying sear me and see if I'm Mafia isn't going to make someone who already has that seed in their brain be like, I'm going to sear somebody else. If he's already the top candidate, he's already the top candidate. For me, I feel like it was worth a try.
Like he might have been. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I feel like he might have been able to salvage things better than White could have, but I don't know. It was a bad situation overall. Like,
I was surprised, to be honest, that you let Master Mukau say that you had made the mistake, because I've said in past games, if you try to blame something that happened on me, that's not going to fly.
I was down for it because, one, I wasn't going to confirm or deny anything, so that's up for the town to figure out. But I guess because I didn't see how it was going to hurt anything, because I guess, how is it any different than lying about a PM that I sent you, you know? And I don't think it's a convincing argument, and it wasn't a convincing argument. I don't think anyone was really won over.
I don't even
by
allow that in my games. I don't let people say that. Actually, I got a correcting PM from Renfield. I wouldn't allow that.
Generally, if you know, yeah, I get it. I guess because if it's something that I feel like I need to get involved with, I don't have a problem posting. So by leaving it out in the open there, it's no different than him lying about anything else with zero proof behind it. So, and if anything, it makes it even. It's not. I just don't think it's a good lie. Period. Because it's basically it's a lie that you can't prove. You have no evidence support. You said it yourself. It felt like a smoking gun because it felt like a desperate maneuver. And all it's going to do, even if he wasn't ejected, he was definitely going to be seared the next night. So it is what it is. White goes down. Subaru's on the chopping block next. I thought Pink suggested an emergency meeting day one, and I thought we were going to see 2 Mafia get ejected day one.
That would have been sick. I think it could have made day 3 actually better for Blue, though, to be honest.
Yeah, well, and that's interesting enough, is because both his Mafia buddies went down so early, there wasn't a lot of like interaction evidence for Blue later on, but
right.
Anything else for day 1 you guys want to discuss?
No, I think we're ready to go to night 1.
What do you guys think? Well, I was gonna say, what do you guys think about so in this game, I had everyone volunteer for task specialties. Last game, it got really pigeonholed. People were like, okay, well, it's 3, it's 2, 4, 4, 2, or whatever. Mafia has to be 1 in each category, and they were kind of using that to narrow people down. They're like, oh, we caught the Mafia and admin, so the other 2 people in admin are soft cleared. This time I let everyone choose which one gives the Mafia more mobility and potentially the ability to capitalize and steal spots from an important ability. What did you guys think about that? And do you think there's an optimal, we need to have X numbers in each specialty?
I thought it was fine.
I liked it.
You want to go explain, Graham?
I was just gonna say I liked it. It kind of lets you build your own role card to an extent in this town, which I think helps keep players engaged, while at the same time it did remove, like you said, the pigeonholing. I really dislike the argument of trying to, in a game where there's different, for lack of better words, factions of people split up like they are with the specialties in previous games. I really hate narrowing down by, okay, someone from this pool's gone, so statistically it's less likely there's going to be anybody else in there, and that's not an argument I'm interested in listening to usually.
I was hoping that all
like
of the Mafia would pick the same group just to do it.
Yes, that would have been nice.
I thought that would be cool too. Well, and also that's what I was hoping for later on, is for if this game hit late game, you start asking people's motivation, like, why did you choose weapons? At this point, weapons had 4 people in it, and security had none, and you chose weapons. Why did you choose weapons, or whatever? And that could have been a point of social interaction later on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know. That was the idea. We obviously didn't get very far in the game, so.
I stand by my idea that we should have gone 5 for Seer, 5 for Protector, and 3 for Investigator, and just given up on the 4th group. I think you just stack the best roles with as many people as you can.
Well, and that was one thing I was curious about. I allowed this game there to be 0 in a category, but I thought about minimum of 1. What do you think on that?
I just felt like, yeah, how would you enforce that? Like if it comes down to there's one person left, that person defaults to it?
Probably, yeah. Or just be like, at least one. I don't know. I haven't really given it too much thought. You could be like, if not, well, actually, here's something interesting. What if no one volunteers for a specific specialty, that relating role is removed from the game? So if you wanted to stack everything into Seer, you could, but you sacrifice security for the rest of the game.
That seems unreasonable.
You think? Okay. I don't know.
What if instead of having specialties next time that you get to assign yourself, what if someone else assigns the specialty for you?
Ooh.
I'm just spitballing right now.
Ooh.
Your confidant gets to assign it to you on night 1.
That's interesting.
Half of the game would end up not assigning because they don't send confidants.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then also you would end up with like 10 people as the Protector and the Seer.
Possibly.
Yeah. I don't know. It's ideas. Generally, I was pretty happy with how it worked. I kind of enjoyed just saying, hey, you guys set the board state. You guys figure out, build your own town, build your own card and all that.
There's something else to talk about on day 1, which is good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
so speaking about votes, real quick, as we go into day 2 or night 2, none of the Mafia voted for their fellow Mafia to get abilities. No, that's not true. White voted for Blue to get security cameras and for Subaru WRX to get administrative access. So White going down made sure to throw some votes toward his teammates' ways. But both Subaru WRX and Blue were so scared that if they voted for each other, they would be pinned as Mafia because of it, that they didn't. Which is unfortunate because Blue had the ability to steal a couple of abilities or to contest them for ties had he gotten just 1 or 2 more votes from his buddies.
I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily a misplay.
I wasn't saying it was a misplay per se. I was just curious if you think that Mafia should vote for their fellows or not.
I would probably vote for at least one. I'd probably pick the one of us I thought was most there, but then I wouldn't try to milk it.
Okay. I mean, granted, Mafia were in a very stressful situation day 1, so I kind of give them. I will give them leeway in that regard. So.
I mean, I didn't even look at the specialties people claimed when I considered my votes. I just picked the 4 people I thought were most town and just randomly gave them one.
Me too.
Well, most people did that, I think, and the votes compared to last game, the votes were really, really close. Poteet, you had 4 votes for administrator access, which was 2 above the next closest, which was Tan and Blue.
Doing it.
Tan had 5 votes for protector. You tied with 3 votes with Yellow for med scan, which you won the coin flip for that one. And the other ones were like 3 votes each as well. It was a lot more concentrated, with Pink getting the communicator and Cyan getting the security cameras. So yeah.
So how did they come to the conclusion that Tan was the best to try to remove from the game night 1?
So.
And did Tan ever give you any insight onto why they protected themselves, or no?
So Tan and Pink were Pink Tomahawk and Tan Springtime Bugling were talking to each other using unauthorized access. And Pink had really good vibes. Tomahawk was really confident that Springtime Bugling Tan was town. And she basically just came out and said, "Hey, I've got the priest tonight. What do you think? Should I protect myself? Should I protect someone else?" And they had an actual discussion on it, which she had a good feeling on him, and especially after the white debacle, Pink was pretty well seen as town. And Tomahawk basically convinced her to not that she needed much convincing, but basically, suggested you should protect yourself. Save the priest for the late game. He referenced how last game the priest could have made or broke the game at the end. And so he pushed that keeping the priest alive was more important than trying to stop the night kill. Mafia's thought process, I'm not really Do you guys have something you want to say?
No, I'm just trying to make you laugh.
Okay. Okay. No, I wasn't sure. Mafia's thought process is a little hard because Blue and Subaru didn't post very much in the Mafia chat. My understanding is they had a little more back and forth on messaging, which I'm fine with. I do ask that Mafia at least try and post all their thoughts in the Mafia chat, but having a little bit of back and forth in messaging during the allotted nighttime is fine. Yeah, it's fine. I don't have any problem with it. But I talked to them afterwards. So they chose to rollblock Black and Cyan. And I don't know why they didn't choose to rollblock Black and Poteet, AT Special, both of you, because you were both an admin. And my understanding was that they were worried if you two got blocked, it would incriminate Blue as being the only admin who wasn't role blocked. And I understand that logic, but they also failed to stop the seer, which is unfortunate. As far as targeting Tan, they wanted to try and remove weapons. They both Subaru WRX and Subaru WRX voted Tan for the protector, and Blue voted Pink. So I think they were hoping that either Tan had it and protected someone else, or Tan didn't have it and they removed someone from weapons. Well, in an HT Mafia first, the priest, for who knows how long, the priest stopped the kill, and at the same time, HT Special Poteet Sears Subaru as Mafia in probably one of the best nights town has ever had, ever.
Wasn't it bound to happen eventually? I mean, the statistics, gambler's fallacy, etc. I don't need to get into that, but there's never been a town thumps Mafia game. We were due.
Until
oh no,
now.
the town thoroughly trounced the Mafia, and you can say, oh well, Mafia lost this, but you know what? Town didn't screw it up. There was still time for them to screw this up, and for Blue to take home the win if Town had gone full HT Town. And you know what? They didn't. They kept their wits about them mostly, despite their best efforts, and
We
they
thought
won.
about it.
And you know what? Town earned this win, and I won't let anyone say otherwise. Um, the night rolls were really well done, and Poteet would pass his role on to Orange, which I thought was a really smart move because Orange had barely existed in the game, and you knew the ability was going to be safe. The unauthorized access, I changed how it worked this time. It just got passed it got passed on to the next person that you targeted with, so it automatically went to Tan, and I kind of like that ability. It keeps the conversation flowing between people. Everything else got kind of passed to the people you expected. Pink got an ability.
Wait, am I
ability.
misremembering something? I thought unauthorized access was a day chat ability.
In the last game, it was day chat. So in this game, I made it a night chat and half of day chat. So because last game it was underutilized, no one used it because why would Town post in their day chat what they would just post in the thread? So the only thing it was useful for was Mafia. So the way I did it this time is that starting as soon as night one started, whoever had it first got to message me. They would immediately get a quick topic with whoever they were talking with. And as long as their target survived the night phase, they could keep talking until the halfway point of the day phase when abilities had to be transferred. Then, assuming that the person they targeted were talking to was still alive at the end of the day, they weren't ejected, they automatically got the ability and it moved on. And it allowed a lot more. The two nights it was used, Poteet was the second night, and conversation was much more substantial in there, and Town used it to full effect.
Nice. Nicely done. So we can get into day 2, and why'd you decide to hold off on your seer, my guy? Mr. HT Special?
I just kind of wanted to watch the town, see how everything was shaking out, and honestly, I just got too excited and blew my load. I'm not even gonna lie. I wanted to wait like another day and a half of real life time before doing anything, but
Wait,
I figured
what
it was
point
time
did
to
you
strike
realize?
and was hot.
At what point did you come to the conclusion that you wanted to do the twofer?
I thought about it the night before.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to see both Mafia go down this day. Like as soon as Poteet starts the emergency meeting, I sent him the office meme of the it's happening because I thought we were going to see a town sweep. And it's kind of funny. I got so excited that when I posted the votes for who had voted for emergency meeting, I posted Poteet instead of HT Special. I don't know how many people saw it. I know Atarian saw it. Did you see it too, Kyle?
No, I heard about it after the game.
Okay. I caught it pretty quickly. It was only up for like maybe 3 minutes, but because I was excited for the town. You know, I mean, I obviously I'm not playing favorites, but you know, I want to see the underdog win.
Yeah, it's funny that the town is underdog, but yeah, it usually is.
But
so let me get
Subaru didn't. Yeah, go on.
I was like, we get a pretty clean cut. Subaru goes down. They don't even like defend themselves. They're like, yeah, I know, you got me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And that's just like Green last game. You know, once you get seared, it's like it's not even worth it. You're just gonna make things. You're either gonna incriminate the last Mafia or you're gonna clear town.
Yeah, don't make like a Rees list and try to be in people's heads. It's not worth it.
Mm-hmm. So
and then we move on to a lot of different
red
scattered votes. We had like not a clear direction. We had. This is the beginning of some conspiracy theories, like why would HT Special give me the seer? Maybe Tan self-protected
Right.
because they had such a bad day one that they needed to get ahead. Lots of big brains coming out trying to hero ball. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just like, this is where I thought Town might blow it. Because you have people, you just have someone who outed a Mafia, and your first thought is, well, that's clearly Mafia bussing their opponent for Town cred, and then someone else is over here saying Mafia purposely flubbed the kill so that Tan could pretend that they had the priest. And look, I'm all for that crazy big brain thinking, like day 5 when there's 3 people remaining and you really have to figure out who's Mafia.
Right. A theory is not evidence. I feel like I was talking to my high school students. Like, just because you can conceive of an idea doesn't make the chances of it happening better. That's frustrating. My night 2 message as I died was just make the safe plays, don't make conspiracy theories. And of course, Lime didn't want to share that common sense information.
You sent it to Lime. Lime's message that night was like LOL kill HT special or something.
Ironic.
So I thought that was funny. But yeah, so then Red goes down, and I'm not entirely sure why Red went down, other than like Green's post where he said Red's a prick or something like that.
I mean, I voted for Red just because I felt like Pink had earned the shot. Like, they had been so instrumental in getting rid of White, and they had this voting evidence that pointed more to Red than to anybody else. And I was like, well, it's circumstantial evidence. It's something better than a theory. Then we don't really have much else except to like say whose posts sound the most sus.
Well, and then we had another big brain theory. So at one time, Red posts something like, Mafia had more time, got their PMs before everyone else, and so they had more time to come up with a lie. So everyone's just like, oh, you got your PM, earlier? I got mine exactly at this time. Yeah. You must be Mafia. I want to set the record straight. I had 13 tabs open on HeyTrainer. I pasted everyone's roles, and then I click submit, and as a moderator, I'm not limited by the you can't make a post too soon or you can't send a PM so fast. So I go click, and every single post went out within the same 60-second time frame for that exact reason, because I've seen people use that dumb logic before where they go, well, Mafia are usually at the top of the list, so they got their PMs first. Don't do that. Bad. Don't try and meta the mod.
My next game, Mafia is going to get their PMs early.
Oh my god, you should send...
My next game, Town's going to get their PMs a week early, and Mafia is going to get them 5 minutes late.
Oh, one other thing I want to point out with Red that I thought was funny. So, in this game, White is ejected before day 2. A Mafia has been seared and is ejected, followed by an emergency button where Red is ejected next. And the second Mafia has sealed their fate with bad day 1 play. That is not this game, that is last game. That's exactly what happened this game as well. Both games followed the exact same script.
They're just reincarnations of each other.
And of course, Jellyfisher's Red goes down after the emergency eject for the exact same reason, for basically being this persona he put on. So, unfortunately, the Town blew their sweep with Red.
Yeah. Then I was the night 2 kill. I was surprised by that, to be honest, because I was starting to get some people saying that Black is one of their bottom 3 at the end of the day. So that was a surprise to me.
Yes. Darth Pika's Blue's logic was, he posted in the Mafia chat, I want to go after people who are middling sus. And my understanding was basically he was kind of banking on people like Town and HT Special had the big brain conspiracies against them. So while they were technically confirmed Town, you had people pushing for their vote. So he didn't want to, he took the gamble not going after them. And likewise, he didn't want to go after people like orange and yellow who were really low on people's lists. So he chose you because you were like really middling. I don't think it was the greatest kill either. I think he should have just gone for Tan or HT Special. Tan I think would have been a good one. Although, was Tan protected that night? Yes, Tan was protected that night, so it would have been really bad if Priest got 2 hits. So, he was using telling lies on green. However, another example of not reading your roll card. Blue later, I had to explain to Blue that telling lies did not make someone sear Mafia. It made them look like they targeted the night kill. So he was using that ability incorrectly.
Oops.
Yeah. Look, again, Mafia was under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, okay? It was a no-win situation. One thing that Darth Pika did that earned him some good points is that he spent the first day freaking out, panicking, understandably. He spent the second day panicking, understandably. He kind of had a revelation coming into the third day, and he said, "You know what? I'm not going to panic anymore. I'm just going to play like I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to play like I'm just here, hanging out, having fun." And that was the smartest thing he could have done. I wish he had committed to it a bit more. I think he might have survived a little longer. And we can talk about the mistakes he made day 3. But day 3 was I remember a lot of people's names coming up. Green's name was on the block.
Yeah,
Orange's
day 3
name was on the block.
It was the most votes. The first person to get over half votes was yellow with 3. And then we didn't get a single vote for blue until 3 hours left in the day. That was Tan, another good point in their favor for this game. Tan cast the first vote, and then we get all of the votes in that last 3 hours on blue. That was a shock, because I didn't watch the last 6 hours of this day. So I came out and I was like, you guys got rid of blue?
So Tan on day 1 said blue was the last Mafia, and in the chat with Pink, she was saying blue's the last Mafia, and in her chat with Poteet, she was saying blue's the last Mafia. Blue was her husband, Darth Pika, and which is kind of funny that she just honed in on that so quickly. And I don't know if that may be a blind scum hunch award or I'm not entirely sure what she honed in on, but she was like, I need people to help me out. And so she spent her night chats, earning Pink and Poteet's favor and saying, let's go after blue. And she made her move, and they both followed pretty quickly.
It takes that kind of grassroots effort to get out the vote, You got to go to your constituents one by one.
Okay.
Except for you didn't even get HT Special's vote because he didn't vote on that.
I said I would have.
Yeah, rereading, blue was definitely kind of pointing fingers at anyone who looked like they might possibly be ejected that wasn't him. I think blue was advocating for 4 or 5 different people to be ejected that day. He was like, go after orange. And then orange wasn't getting anything. He was like, oh, go after, go after yellow. Go after green. I think his first post of the day was vote green because we voted red yesterday and we didn't choose green. And I think that definitely hurt his case. He was a little too not give a fuck. So blue goes down, and the game ends.
Somehow, yeah. My note is somehow we got there in the last 3 hours. I'm glad that we had a game like this. It gives me reaffirmed confidence that Town can reestablish. They're supposed to have a 60% favorite in these games. So the fact that we hadn't had a pretty big. I'd say like the last time, maybe the other game in my mind that's closest to this one of Town, like thumping the Mafia, would be the Politicians one that you did, Graham.
Conflict. Yeah.
Conflict resolution.
And the Mafia was really hindered in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But which you could
like,
argue they were
looking
also
back really surprises me still even more because you would think being on your own team would be way bigger of a strength. IDK.
In my head, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But teamwork makes the dream work too.
Has it ever though? Has it ever in HT Mafia? I feel like the teamwork is not the strategy in HT Mafia.
I mean,
I guess like sacrifice is what makes the dream work in for HT Mafia. Like we just need to put one person in position and see if they can go a distance.
I guess I feel like every time I've been Mafia, minus Duck Holiday, when I made a concerted effort to throw my alpha under the bus for town cred starting day one, but that's not the norm. Like busing usually doesn't work out. Like there's many more cases of busing failing on HT Mafia than succeeding. Usually the town does something really stupid where they kind of shoot themselves in the foot.
I'd like to see a next level analytics of this. I mean, do you need to get what's that a Sloan conference going for HeyTrainer analytics and see if busing really is effective or not? Because I believe historically, I think it would be at least 50% effective.
I don't think it's a bad strategy to consider. I just think that it's a very risky it's a high risk, high reward strategy as opposed to a tried and true consistent strategy.
True.
But Town definitely in both these games. I don't know if you guys remember last podcast, I had very little bad things to say about the Town. And that holds true on this game. And that's why I'm really happy about this rule set. I think it gives Town a really, they understand the parameters of their game. The Mafia really have to work hard to hide. I don't give the Mafia any freebies, and we've shown. So now, probably after a break, after we let someone else run their next game, I'll run my my tiebreaker trilogy conclusion. And now with everyone kind of understanding how things are going to go, we'll see if Town goes 2-1 in my imposter games, or if Mafia comes back and shows them how things are done on HT.
A little teaser for you there. I think we should get our nominations out of the way while they're still fresh in our mind. Like we can give Worst Bluff, I think, to White just on the basis of them claiming that it was like a moderator mix-up. That one's pretty straightforward. Player of the game, I think we've talked a little bit about Tan. I think we could throw a little bit of accolades on to Special. Is there anyone else you want to include in that mix?
Springtime Bugling. I want to give massive props to her because this is someone who went from being kind of a meme player to player of the game, and I was blown away by how she played. She was on top of things. She was playing solid Town. Some of the best Town play I've seen in a while, honestly. Like, she wasn't falling for the traps. Definitely well-deserved player of the game right there, I think. So, other stuff. The Subaru post was Subaru isn't very Subaru. It might be a good post of the game.
Agreed.
What you guys got anything else? I don't know if Tan was blind was a hunch on Blue, or if she was honing in on something. So I feel like it would cheapen how well she played to say that she just blindly chose Blue. So I really don't.
No, I think
they're. That.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was blind either. I guess it just depends on at the end of the year, like how many better ones we get, and if that one, qualifies, or if it gets pushed out by like some more wild nails out there. Let's go on to the grades then.
Yeah, this is actually going to be a pretty short segment because we only had 3 days. And so the way I did grades, so last time I had a bunch of, because the grades were so close, I had pluses and minuses. This time, there was so little that happened, and it was such a quick game that it was basically you got a B if you played solid, didn't try to torpedo the town, but also didn't like lead the way. You got a C if you got way into the conspiracy, the big brain conspiracy plays on day 2 and 3, and like avoided actual scum hunting. And you got an A if you were like a really like leading member of the town who, you know, who really helped stuff out. So yeah, we can go down the list. I'll let if you want to do by name or color or whatever.
So just go by roster number.
All right, let me bring up that. So first up,
I have a stat real quick.
Oh,
I
stat
just
guy.
confirmed this. Let me check.
Wow, Raptors
Yeah, let
Zeus
me
gave you
just
the
check my
dirtiest look for
calculator
getting on
here.
his corner.
He could have come up with the stat too, because I just did. According to my calculator here, town is 1-0 when springtime bugling is protected every possible night.
You know the play now.
There's that stat for you. We've solved the Mafia.
you know what? I do want to add one more thing on springtime. Well, I'll get to it on the grades. Okay, so all right, so I guess we'll just go down. Do you
Why
want
don't
to
we
do
just do springtime
roster
bugling
order
then
or
while they're in
color
your
order? Well, I'll get to them.
Rent free. Oh.
I'll get to them. What do you guys want to do? By sign up order or by color order?
You're the guest.
Alphabetical order.
All
What do
right.
you want?
That's
How
gonna
about
be
post
that's too
order?
much for my army
By-
brain to
How about
comprehend.
how old they are?
Numbers scare me. I'm in the army. Colors are simple. So
Age
Their ISP
order.
number.
we'll do sign up. We'll do sign up. So
Okay.
Atarian, Cyan,
Blood type.
Atarian, Atarian. You know what? I'm just gonna call him Atarian for the rest of his life. I've accepted that I will never say his
It's
name right.
Adarian, by the way.
Atarian. So Atarian gets a B. Solid town play, but his biggest thing is it felt like he was playing last game. He was really focused on flavor not matching up with last game, or he was just like, oh, red's missing his middle initial, or blue doesn't have doctor in his name. And I want to be clear that I was not connecting any like connections to my last game were just like tongue in cheek, or like in the case of red and lime, I had their flavor connect vaguely to the last game, like, oh, you were ejected and you came back, or, you know, you survived. And that was more for Mafia to have a little more room to maneuver. And like I said before, it gives town pause and be like, how come these two people have flavor that matches last game, but no one else does? Why are you from the last game? All it was just little red herrings to throw in there. The like giving Subaru WRX Boris Cho, which was the name that Renfield or Kyle came up with as his fake flavor name. That was a name I'd actually come up with and hadn't used in my last game. So it was just coincidence that Kyle came up with the exact same name. But Cyan gets a B. I feel like if he had focused a little more on scum hunting and using flavor as a springboard as opposed to flavor hunting really, really hard to try and get answers, he would have gotten a little higher. But next is Lime, Pro Hawk. Lime gets a C. He didn't really do anything. He just kind of was there. He got town confirmed by security because there was one Mafia left and he didn't target the kill during night 2 or so. Like he was kind of like confirmed as town and then he just kind of hung about, didn't do anything, didn't hurt the town. So C. Orange gets Orange AWAST also gets a C. He just didn't exist day 1. He didn't even sign up for a specialty. He just like, well, he did, but he did the last minute and didn't bold. So like he was just barely playing. Day 2, he kind of just fought with blue.
I think I remember most is him
fought
trying to say HT special must be Mafia because he gave me Seer.
Yeah, he was into the big brain conspiracy plays. That's why he got a C. You know, he He was getting too hung up on that.
Both Lime and Orange get C's for
Red.
conspiracy.
Basically. Red gets a C as well. Red Jellyfisher, for getting ejected for the exact same reason he got ejected last time, which is just annoyed people enough somehow. There was no good reason for Red to get ejected. I mean, I know what you're saying Pink had like some posting and all that, but the case against Red was really weak. So again, Red didn't really do much, although Red was defensive of Blue, which was bad. I don't remember the exact context, but I remember that he kind of was giving Blue the benefit of the doubt a little bit.
Rare colors.
Yeah, because at some point, I think it was you, Graham, you were like, "Oh, red, white, and blue must be the Mafia."
It wasn't me, but yeah, no.
Someone did say that. Black, Kyle. You get a B because I liked your idea of posting your flavor backwards to try and trap the Mafia.
Dork.
I liked that you were trying to get people away from the conspiracy theories and try and be a voice of reason. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, you didn't have a voice that anyone cared to listen to, so you just kind of fell to the wayside. So you get a B for just being there.
B for bean.
Yeah.
B for existence.
Pink gets an A. So Pink, Tomahawk gets an A, mostly because once again, when Tomahawk talks, he's a force to be reckoned with as Town. He was working really closely with Tan in that night chat. He was kind of a voice of reason in the day chat and kind of trying to get people. He was getting people away from these conspiracy theories. Solid play by Pink. HT Special, Graham, Poteet, also an A. Ability usage was on point. I mean, yeah, it was obvious that Subaru was the seer target, but you still did it. I think passing to Orange was a solid move that was basically going to guarantee that Administrator Access was going to make it to the next night. Orange targeted you, by the way, because, again...
Why not?
Yeah, why not? So... your posting again was very kind of, let's be rational here. Let's calm down and think about it. Yellow JD Koopa gets a B for just being there. JD Koopa kind of put himself in a bad position because he was trying to play devil's advocate. He was really trying to sit on the fence and kind of see both sides. And unfortunately, there were some posts where people were just like, you're sitting here defending Subaru and White. And I don't think that was his intent. And at the end, he didn't get ejected. He was able to convince everyone that it was a mistake.
He was this close to another day 1 or 2 eject.
He was really close.
Remember.
He still gets a B for not like actively hurting the town or like, falling for the conspiracy theories. And generally, JD Koopa says good things. He also has a hat. JD Koopa will always look Mafia, no matter what game he is in, no matter what he says.
He has a random post every phase that he can have 9 good posts, and then the 10th post is just like, wait, every game.
He'll post an idea. He'll be like, hey guys, what if we hold off on posting flavor for 5 minutes and like try and do this? And someone will be like, oh, he doesn't want to share flavor, he's Mafia. Or he'll be like, Subaru really messed up on this first post, but I liked his flavor post. Maybe we give him the benefit. Oh, he's defending Subaru. Like,
I think in general, JD Koopa plays kind of like a reasonable game, and a more conservative game. And I want to see him just play a game where he just like hard commits to ideas. Just like I'm all in on this idea and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, he didn't play bad.
No.
Green. Green was actually the closest between B and C, and I ended up giving Green.
We got back to Angry Superstar. I felt like.
Yeah. Green Angry Superstar came. He was all for the conspiracy theories, but at the same time, he used security cameras pretty well. He cleared Lime. ultimately, I think he goes to a C because he was definitely getting a little classic HT Town a few times here and there.
Mhm.
But it's a C plus. It's a 79 out of it's right there. So and finally Tan. Tan gets an S because I know Kyle hates that
Get
letter.
that garbage out of here.
You can call it an A plus. You can call it an S.
I'm gonna
Look,
call it an A plus.
Tan pegged Blue immediately. Tan was out there on the night chats getting information. Tan was working with Town. One thing I wanted to point out is in Tan's chat with you, Graham, the first thing you guys did was both say, these are the abilities I got right away. You just outright admitted. You said, hey, I've got what did you have? You had med scan, I think, or security. You had med scan. You said, I've got med scan, and she comes out and says, I've got the priest again, or something like that. Like you
Mhm.
guys were working together. Solid play. I thought that was a smart move. I thought that was a super Town sounding move, like not being coy with that information. So, Tan is our MVP. Tan gets our coveted S rank. um, and I was gonna say the thing I was gonna say before about springtime bugling, Tan. Springtime bugling has an insane record when it comes to just like good reads. Like during Trump Mafia, she was all over my case like day 2. She was all over Poteet day 2. In uh in another Mafia game that I played in where I was Mafia, it was where I claimed Herdier. That was Duck Holiday? No, she wasn't in Duck Holiday. Never mind.
It was a game with you and I were Mafia as well.
It
Again,
was another game where you and I were Mafia, and she just honed in on us. She's got some really good reads and like instincts, and where she always faltered was her ability to articulate and communicate it, and her failure to not be manipulated emotionally and kind of like had her arguments torn down by herself. In this game, she attributed it to the Anon game, but I think just in general, she completely eliminated those shortcomings this game. So
Nicely played.
props to you, Springtime. All right, now we get to the Mafia. Whoo boy, Subaru WRX. Subaru WRX gets a D. That first post was stupid, but he came up with some decent flavor. I liked he was playing off the fact that everyone knows about my that I have a love affair with my car, and he played it off with the flavor. He gets some points for obviously, you know, I think that he had some good ideas during the Mafia chat. That's the only thing that really kept him out of F. But it's not a pretty, it's not a clean D. It's a dirty D. It's a smelly D. It's an uncleaned D. I see that face you're making, Graham, and yes, it's all intended.
ugh, take a
White.
shower.
White gets an F. I'm sorry. The maybe a D. You know what? I'll give White a D as well. The blaming the lying for no reason. The blaming the mod. The going after Pink, it was not good. I'll give both Subaru WRX and White get Ds, and Blue gets a C for making it until day 3.
Generous.
You guys have any comments on those grades?
Generous. I mean, I was
That's what
expecting
I
worse,
had, no.
but I mean, we're keeping in good spirits here, so I'll concede to you.
You know what? I look. I feel like an F has to be like
You have to type out "I'm Mafia" and then never post again.
I mean, that's kind of what Subaru did, but F has to be like I think F is reserved for torpedoing your entire team and not just torpedoing yourself.
What would be an example of that from history?
People people who have earned okay, people who have earned, burn the town to the ground awards, or like,
But from a Mafia point
we
of
haven't
view,
really had. Well, the Mafia don't ever lose, so we don't really have that point of view.
Richard Nixon?
The closest I can think is maybe. No, I can't really think of a good example because Mafia doesn't lose on HT.
Oh, they just did.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
they
I think
did.
if you're giving like a D for these plays, it seems like maybe are we ever giving Mafia Fs?
So do you think both White and Subaru should have gotten Fs, or
I'm
only
not
one
saying
of them
they should have. I'm
gotten
just
F?
wondering, what does an F Mafia play look like to you? Like, if we've ever had, like, you'd think we would have had one in 27 games, you know?
Taking, I would say that a Mafia F
Yeah, Graham.
is, yeah, go on.
What's the okay, Kyle? What's the difference between a D and an F when you grade classroom work?
So, strictly speaking, you cannot pass my class if you do not achieve more than half of the Indiana state standards. So you need to have demonstrated mastery of at least 4 of the 8 standards.
I regret this question.
Okay,
what is the
okay,
HeyTrainer Mafia standard?
I got a good example. Forgetting to do the night kill would be like a solid F,
It's a pretty bad F, yeah.
and we've seen it get close. In Kyle's game, for example, I distinctly remember me desperately messaging him, going, "Has so and so submitted the kill yet?" And there's like 5 minutes left, and I'm like messaging this person. I'm like, "Submit the kill." That was the night that we didn't even submit the roll block. No, it wasn't. Wait, what was it your game? It was your game, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but it sounds familiar.
I don't. Yeah.
I know there was one game you were messaging me about someone doing something.
It wasn't your game. It was. I don't remember because. Oh, it was Duck Holiday, and no, I don't remember. But yeah, that forgetting the kill, forgetting to submit your abilities, that would be F worthy, I think. If like on top of like playing poorly as Mafia, maybe something like what Tomahawk did in Duck Dinner when he voted too early and exposed himself. No, even then that's the same as what he got here. So yeah, F has to be bad. F has to be like you torpedo the Mafia.
Well, then I think you have to be. Well, I think in the grade so far for this town, you're following the same kind of conservativeness of your vote. But I think in general, then we have to be nicer to our town because we can't just give out only Fs to town members.
Only Fs. Hey, I said this before and I'll say it again. These last 2 games have been honestly the best town play I've seen in a hot minute.
And that is why I want to caution against going back to games where there's absolutely no information. The town can't play nearly as well if they are just like trying to come up with hypothetical scenarios.
I think you can have a crazy game like Duck Dinner or Conflict Resolution. One reason conflict resolution works so well is that all the mechanics were very clearly laid out. We understood how the council and the resources worked from the beginning. We didn't know that the Mafia didn't know each other, I don't think. But that's fine, because that's no different than not knowing which Mafia has the roadblock, which one has the night kill, etc. So, like, taking Duck Dinner, for example, I think if Duck Dinner had posted the seating mechanics before the game started, and Town understood how the seating mechanics affected the Mafia, and vice versa, maybe that would have improved things. And I'm not shitting on Duck Dinner, of course. That's just an example. So something I would ask mods of the future to think is kind of take this example and like if you're going to use a crazy mechanic, just ask yourself, is it going to hurt the town while they obsess over trying to figure out this mechanic and then misuse the mechanic to hurt themselves? And that's where your post comes in about combining the two. Yeah.
What grades do we have left?
So
Anybody?
that was it. That was everyone.
Okay.
It was super quick. Yeah. It's not much to say this game. We didn't have anyone who posted 200 times.
Thank
Right.
God.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to cover, Graham, before we go on to our moments of Zen?
God, we've only been going for an hour and a half compared to our 4 hours last time.
I don't think so, except for I'm petitioning that when Tomahawk plays like this, we call him Takahawk instead.
Takahawk.
That's all.
Maybe my next anonymous game will be composed entirely of like the meme names we've invented for everyone here on
There you go.
HeyTrainer.
Dibs on Takahawk.
I know that Superstar has claimed he has a hentai game coming up, supposedly.
Oh my.
Or either a hentai game or a furry game, and I'm not sure which one is worse. The Pika Bros have a game that's in the works, and supposedly finished.
That'd be very challenging for me to be able to play at work. So
yes,
keep in mind,
I would hope that it's at least.
I already am concerned in these anonymous games about just giving away who I am based on the hours that I can actually play the game. So, like, further restricting that would be troubling for my ability to play the game, at least.
Oh yeah, speaking about Anon, by the way. Only 4 people responded night 1 and night 2 to my Anon list, which I was disappointed in. I was hoping more people would play that little side game.
I forgot to.
On like I said, on both night 1, night 2, no one really knew who anyone was. Red was like Jellyfisher, Prohawk, Springtime, Poteet. Blue, like almost every response had 3 or 4 responses.
The ones that I always like don't even bother to try to figure out are like the Pika Bros. I'm like, you guys should all be impersonating one another. I'm not trying to figure this out. Master Mukau in general, I think plays pretty neutral. I can't really figure him out. And then back when we had like T-Cards and JD Koopa and Maddie, I was like, they could be impersonating one another. I'm not going to try to figure that out. Those were always the hardest ones for me to figure out.
Anon did the job it needed to do. It's not, as you mentioned this last podcast, it's not about keeping everyone's identity a secret, but just subconsciously, when you're responding to Blue, you know it's Darth Pika, but like subconsciously you're responding to Blue, and a lot of those biases we have towards people kind of go away, or they're at least limited. And now, ironically enough, Renfield remains the first town killed as always, despite the fact that we're playing an Anon game, proving that some things remain the same. JD Koopa will always look Mafia. Renfield will always die to the night kill.
I think it's actually been a minute for me. I feel like more often recently it's been like Jellyfisher, Master Mukau getting eliminated early.
Jellyfisher has been the day 2 Lynch eject vote like 4 times.
I don't think I've ever been day killed that early. How about you, Graham?
Jelly just.
Yeah.
When do you usually get killed?
You get night killed.
Depends. I guess. Yeah, never mind. I'll get day killed. Yeah.
There was like 3 games in a row where you were night killed day 1 and didn't get to enjoy the game.
I don't remember that.
Meanwhile, I make it to the end every time, either because I'm Mafia or because I'm town that everyone thinks is Mafia.
Or just bad town.
I am horrible town every time, even though I always pin the right Mafia. No.
You know who always lives to the end is Raptor Zone.
Hey, but you know what? You're player of the year, not me, and I'm totally not salty about that. 100%.
Thank you. I'm glad we cleared that
I'm
up.
just number 2. You know what? That's why I signed up for this, so I can go take moderator of the year because I gave up on getting player of the year.
Who's winning the who's ahead right now in the POY race? Can our stats guy come? Like, what are we looking at right now?
Do we
I
only
need
have 2 games to
basketball
work with?
reference has. Don't we have 3?
We have 3 because we have the
Duck Holiday and then these 2.
no Duck Dinner.
Wait,
That was this
Yeah,
year?
yeah, some duck game. Duck game. Yeah.
No, wait, was it? No, because my game was in February. Duck Dinner kind of crossed over. I don't think you guys talked about it.
Yeah, because it ended this. Yeah, it ended this year.
Oh, might be.
No, wait, was it? Yeah. Duck Dinner was after Village, right? Or was Village after Duck Dinner? Okay.
In my head, all the duck games go together, and I can't differentiate which one was which.
I have that exact same problem.
Oh, what do you guys think? So we talked a little bit about flavor and whether it should be eliminated entirely. Well, we kind of talked about that more offline. Do you guys think flavor should be eliminated entirely?
I think it'd be boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously we need to try and find that balance between obsessing over it and it solving puzzles and just starting conversations.
Like, what is the draw to playing Forum Mafia if we're like strictly going to play? It'd be like, why would I go to HeyTrainer to play chess? You know, there's better places to play chess. So there's other places I could play Mafia. What is the appeal of playing Mafia on HeyTrainer? For the characters, for the personalities, for the fun.
Yeah. Next question. Should the mod, this is another post game question, should the host outright come out and tell the game that this game is not connected to last game? Flavor from last game should not be used as evidence this game. Because I don't think so. I think that let the town come up with whatever crazy logic.
I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. I mean, I think it's a case-by-case basis if you think it'll make a difference in the game.
Yeah. Now,
what I do think is that you need to find a way to trim down what is necessary on that first page. Jesus, the scrolling that I sometimes do on page 1 to find what I'm looking for. It's gotten a little out of hand. We need to trim those bushes.
Control off, my guy.
I mean, it's not that bad.
It's the worst it's ever been.
I at least I have them separated. There's one post for the in-game rules, there's one post for the general rules, and then there's one post for the links to everything.
You gotcha.
But like the player roster isn't at the top even. Like things that I feel like I should be able to find as soon as I click page 1, I'm still scrolling a little bit for.
Okay, that was a mistake for me because I did have like the who got ejected day 1 and all that. Well, okay, so I could have put the player roster right there, but fair enough. But for the most part, it's not horrible.
All right. Well, just keep that in the back of your mind for next. What is essential? What is?
Last game, it was so hard for the Mafia, even though we won. You were so mean to us. Now it's like, oh, you're making us read too much on the rules.
You know, constructive criticism.
Mean.
I'm sorry.
No, fair enough. I will look into next time I run this. I will look into maybe condensing things slightly. Fast days, fast nights. Very good. I'd like to keep it this way. Our games are lasting a month instead of 6 months.
Yes, more games.
Agree. I would agree.
We need to get that.
And
like more. It's like, you know, the argument of Swiss rounds versus what's the other thing? Or like Swiss best of 3 versus Swiss best of 1 in Pokemon. You get more games, you're going to get the better players, right? So we get a better idea of who are we going to vote for player of the year? The more games we get into one year. I think that's fun anyway.
Exactly.
I like the awards.
Plus, we have seen both these games have seen really active day phases, I think, because there's a little more of a time crunch. So good stuff there.
It's time for our
I don't
demo
have anything
of
else.
our second podcast, Toilet Time, or whatever you want to call it. What are some of our other names?
Moment of Zen.
Oh, we've had Captain's Log.
The Captain's Log.
Podcast.
The Poodcast.
The Poodcast.
Poodcast.
The number 2 podcast.
I'm very excited for this. I've had a story that's been brewing in my bowels for quite some time.
Yeah, I have a discussion topic. Why don't you go first then, Jeff?
Discussion.
Okay, so I live in Florida, and I was driving to Miami for a family thing, and it's about a 3.5-hour drive or so. And the thing about Florida is that there are just long stretches of road where there's just nothing. It's swampland. There's no gas stations. There's no off ramps. There's no exits. There's nothing. There was a 64-mile stretch of road like this, like no street lights, no nothing. So I was coming back from Miami, and I turned onto this highway, and as soon as I turn on, I start feeling the rumblies in my tummy. And I'm thinking, that's not a sign of good things to come. And I was like, well, whatever. I 64 miles. I can probably make it for an hour if I'm speeding and all that. And I'm going. I make it about 20 miles, and it gets bad. Like, it is hurting. Like, you're on you guys know exactly. You're driving. You're like hunched over in the steering wheel. And
I've
you're
been there.
Yeah, you turn the air on, you unbutton your pants. Yeah.
Oh, it's bad. So I find a gas station, and there's like one gas station.
I do the rocking thing. Do you rock?
Excited.
Like,
yeah, I was rocking.
Yeah.
Like I was like leaning my seat back, you know.
No.
I'm like stretching. I'm like, I go to the gas station. It's locked. It's closed. The lights are on, and I'm like, fuck. So I get in my car, and I'm speeding down. I see a second gas station, and I'm
what
excited.
time of day was this?
It was about 11 at night. So it was dark out. So spoiler, it's foreshadowing. So I get to the second gas station, and I'm running from the car to the door, and I pull on it, and it's locked. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm about to freaking bust. I run around to the back of the gas station. There is a little, like, the air conditioning thing there, and I hide behind those, and I just drop trowel, and I just go right there. And by the way, I forgot to mention, I'm wearing a suit.
Classy.
I'm wearing a suit. So
Classy.
I let loose, and I'm like, oh, and it's a nasty wet let loose, and I'm like, shit, I gotta pull my suit, my nice
Isn't
suit pants back up.
Marshadow's Shining Legends always like that though? Just randomly judging your opponent.
Yes.
Okay.
For the two people in the pod who get that joke reference.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so then again, it's pitch black. I can't see. I freaking just get back into my car. I'm hoping that I'm not like bleeding shit through my slacks into my car seat.
Actually bleeding.
And the worst part is that I can definitely smell my own ass as I'm driving home because I can't wipe or anything. I'm just stewing it for another hour and a half. I finally get home. And
you don't have any
entire time
you
I'm
don't
driving
have like
back.
a napkin like hoard in your glove compartment?
I have microfiber towels that I use to keep my car clean, and I wasn't gonna wipe my ass with a microfiber towel because I use those on my car.
Throw it away.
Yeah, buy new ones.
No, they're
It's a
expensive.
sacrifice.
So the entire time I was
no.
driving back, I was just thinking, I can't wait to tell this story on the next podcast.
I'm so glad you waited. Jesus. Well, I can't say I've had that experience before.
It was.
F's in the chat for the towels we didn't use.
Gross.
Hey, you know what? You know what? I did not have tire skid marks when I got back, so it all worked out.
Proud of you.
I'm glad that we had a
I'm proud
happy
of me
ending.
too. It was an ending.
So my discussion topic for today was brought up to me over this weekend. They wanted us to talk about it on the pod. We had a request. This is
Who's they?
the people in my life. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Do people
Who
not
listens to this podcast in your life other than us?
Well, maybe you're included in
Do
that.
do your students listen to this podcast?
Hell no.
You should send it to them.
Uh-huh.
Get them involved.
Sniff
So
the poop talk it.
Oh, send them that. Wait, get your students to come sign up on HeyTrainer for Mafia.
sure.
Extra credit.
That would be like 20 new players.
That could be like my graduation present as I send them a link. Like, come step into the fold. You're an adult now.
And it could be a game that you run. It could be a game you run.
Uh-huh. So the discussion topic for today is how much time do you spend on the Twala, even post number 2? How long are you hanging out in the bathroom or directly on the seat? Because I've heard that men in general are spending too much time in the bathroom, and even when they're not still going to the bathroom, they're just kind of lounging, taking it easy, doing their own thing, taking some me time. So are you guilty of this, or are you a quick in and out kind of person? Do you experience this in your friend group? Do the guys kind of linger in the water closet? Graham, you look like you have some thoughts.
While
The water closet. I mean, a lot of it depends on the location and the context of the poop and all of that. But I mean,
Let's say in your home. Let's say in your home.
okay. For I guess, see, we're gonna need more is my house in chaos at the time, or is it like calm?
is your house ever not?
My
in
kid's
chaos?
awake.
Your kids are awake, but they are not actively, they haven't spilled something. They haven't let the dog run away.
Okay. I might be in there for a few extra minutes then. Yeah.
Okay, what are you doing during that time?
Scrolling.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe listening to a tune or something.
Yeah.
You listen to a tune while you poop?
I've never listened to a tune while I poop. No, I don't.
No audio. No audio.
no
No
audio.
video. That's weird.
No, a little audio is okay because it drowns out the sounds of you pooping.
What sounds are coming out of you?
Yeah.
My God.
Large gaseous expulsions. So
Apparently.
Alex, what's your time management in the water closet?
I probably, according to my wife, I take too long. So if I had to
Someone would
guess,
say.
ballpark like 10 to 15 minutes, I'm probably in there, like start to finish.
Okay, now what point of that, let's say 15 minutes, are you done and you could get out?
Oh, probably after like 7. I don't know.
Oh, so you're taking like a full
5.
double length of time.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff, what
just
about you?
scrolling. Yeah.
That's too long.
Really depends. Like, so I can definitely say there's been times where like I've grabbed like the Nintendo DS as I'm walking in, and then I'm just sitting there playing my DS like for like 30 minutes, sitting on there for no reason after I'm well past done.
I have
But I
also
feel like
done that
most
back
of
when
the
I
time-
played Nintendo DS. Yes.
So I live alone, and I live in a small apartment. So like most anything I'd want to do on the toilet, like I'll grab my phone and scroll whatever. But like if I want to post something on Facebook, I'm just gonna walk to my computer again. So I have more. I usually don't spend that much time on there. I feel like if I've just woken up, I'm spending more time, and I'm not rushing to work. I'm gonna spend more time relaxing on there. Or like I just got home from work. Sometimes I'll spend a little more time relaxing. But generally, I kind of just go in, do what needs to be done, and get out.
I see. I would align more than with what what Alex and Graham have said time wise. For me, I have spent, but this is where the discussion came up. I've spent some longer sessions where I've like watched an entire episode of like It's Always Sunny, or like while I'm binging an anime, I watch the whole episode of the anime while I'm in there.
Too long.
And I didn't even know that it was bad for you to sit on the toilet seat until after I had one of those type of sessions. And I was like, maybe I should look this up, because I have been doing this more frequently recently. So then I learned that the toilet seat's not good for your hiney.
Not good for your posture.
You're supposed to squat, my guy.
I can confirm that on more than one occasion when I played in a Mafia game, took my laptop on a TV tray into the restroom so I could type out one of my monster
composing in there.
Yeah, 100%. I have definitely done that more than once.
I think you need to retroactively go back. Go back and add asterisk to all the posts that you've written on the pot.
Ass.
Oh, I have no idea which ones I've done it on. I've posted so many times.
Wait, we've all posted in Mafia on the toilet, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kyle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
I don't post enough to have that chance.
Has anyone frozen a day phase while on the toilet?
No.
I don't think so. I voted to freeze a day phase, but I haven't actually modded from the toilet.
No, not modded. Like
yeah,
like
no.
You posted the day ending vote.
Oh no, I've done that from the toilet. Yeah.
Okay.
I've laid down the hammer while laying down the hammer in the water.
Okay. So my last way to tie off this topic then is like, why have you, if you've been spending more time in there, like, what would you say is the reason? I mean, is it just like you need a little extra me time? Is it you're relaxing? Because I have a response to this that's pretty specific. Alex? Yeah.
I'm single.
Okay. Oh, Jeff, just because like it's not really going to make a difference to you what room you're spending your time in, or?
Yeah, exactly. Like I even close the frickin' door when I'm taking a shit, because I literally am the only one in my apartment. So like, me spending 5 extra minutes in the toilet's no difference than me sitting here. Like it's just another place in my apartment.
Mm-hmm. Alex?
I don't have a reason. I guess it's just alone time.
Yours kind of reminds me of sometimes like I park before I come into the apartment, and like I'll do like a quick scroll through Twitter before I come up the stairs. It's just like, well, I haven't like looked at the internet for 30 minutes and I'm so conditioned to seeing it. I feel like I should, because that much time has passed.
Yeah.
Graham?
Sense. You also don't want to like, you don't want to walk in from getting home and just plop down and get on your phone.
Right, it's kind of rude.
And your spouse is like, what are you doing?
That's strange, because I've never been a park and then scroll. I park and get right out of the car every time.
Oh, no, I'm a park and then just like, check my notifications kind of person.
No, but in terms of for the pooping, I mean, I think mine's gotten a little worse now with the children. It's the fact that I can lock that door and not feel guilty about it. I can say, I'm using the bathroom. I need some privacy. But I mean, I definitely did it before kids too, but not as much. I think, just, uninterrupted thinking time.
Well, my reason's a little more biological. So
okay.
So after I've passed one from my system,
kidney stone?
What?
A kidney stone?
No, a deuce.
Yeah.
After I have evacuated a deuce, I need a little bit of personal time to just let that tunnel contract. Because if you stand up too soon, it's very noticeable that your inner systems.
No, it's not.
For me, it is. For me, I can tell like my my tunnel is a little, it's been used recently. There's been a car that's passed through here.
Expanded?
And so,
We've gone too far.
Are you pooping out eggplants?
I don't know what to tell you, but I need my calibration, my homeostasis to return, or else I feel like I'm not ready to go back to normal walking and sitting. Like it needs to return to its normal structure.
I feel like you're gonna like fold up inside yourself. I don't understand. What do you need to wait for? I do want to throw one thing out here. I actually had a semi-poop story related to Jeff's that happened to me literally today at work. I was delivering to one of my. This is very quick. I was delivering to one of my old folks' homes. There's poop outside the door, like the front door.
Like dog or human?
No, it was human on the sidewalk. And it wasn't fully solid, but it wasn't fully wet, so it's just like these loose piles of something tried to walk away while pooping.
I'm gonna be submitting my resignation after this podcast.
My cousin had a wedding on Saturday, and our grandfather said during his son's speech at the wedding, he says audibly for basically everyone in the church to hear, "I have to poop." It's a nice touch to the ceremony.
Hey, you know what? You know what? I once heard a bit somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but pooping is the one thing that unites humanity together. And like, you can think about think about the most badass person ever, fiction or nonfiction, and they gotta poop sometimes. Emperor Palpatine's gotta poop. Thanos has to poop.
This is an excerpt in Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime, because he tells a poop story in there. It's an entire chapter, and he talks about it's the one uniting factor for humanity. Like, every model poops, every celebrity poops, every politician poops, every
Kim Jong-un doesn't poop.
Except it separates us from the wizards, right? Because human beings have some shame associated with their poop, and the wizards don't have any shame about doing it in front of each other because then they just vanish it with their wands.
Maybe that's where the poop Graham saw came from. It was a wizard relocating.
I don't think so.
What version of Harry Potter are you reading where they just poop in front of each other?
J.K. Rowling confirmed that with her tweets. She said that they, in the past, before toilets were invented, just used their wands to vanish it. They had no shame of just letting it go.
That's so random. Poop lore.
These are the things Harry Potter fans need to know.
Oh, my bad.
According to J.K. Rowling, wizards used to poop their pants and make it disappear with magic.
Oh, they weren't even pooping like on the sidewalk. They were pooping in their pants?
Well, they don't wear pants. They wear robes.
Then how are they pooping their pants?
They're just pooping standing up.
Yes. Yes, J.K. In 2017, J.K. Rowling revealed that before wizards used modern plumbing, they just pooped where they stood and used magic to get rid of it. That's
hang on. Have any of the four of us here ever pooped standing up?
Yes.
Okay.
I was drunk. It didn't work.
I mean, children do it, but you can tell sometimes when they do it in their diapers, just standing.
Explodes out their ass.
Yeah.
Kids have that look on them. Like, I don't have kids, but like you can tell when a kid is pooping.
Mm-hmm.
Like
if they're 2 or under, you can tell.
They'll make eye contact with you too, and they'll just be like.
Sometimes they won't. They'll just kind of zone out and.
All right, so we
should stop.
We can never do a podcast again now. Unless Raptor Zone can pull a miracle and stitch this Frankenstein of a sketch together.
This is going out unedited.
Nice.
Okay. Let's go.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you again, Jeff.
I look forward to being on for the thrilling conclusion of
Conclusion.
Panic. Yes. Panic on Polis, the thrilling trilogy conclusion: Town versus Mafia. Who will win? Who will lose?
And who will be
get
shitting the
coveted
bed?
escalated?
Will it be Town or Mafia?
Yes,
Does
who ca-
Polis sound inappropriate to anybody else? Sounds very phallic.
No, it's all in your head.
Okay. I think it's like a mix of penis and anus. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're gonna have a superstar or a Pika Bros game next, or maybe none of those. Maybe someone else will jump in. Who knows? But until next
Superstar,
time,
so we can get him on the pod.
that'd be amazing.
could we do that? I don't know. He seems so inaccessible to me. But maybe does anyone talk to him regularly except
we
you,
could
Jeff?
get him. I could.
Okay.
I could get him.
All right. Well, have a good night, folks. Thanks for joining us on the Hidden Roleplay podcast. You can catch us on Twitter at Hidden Roleplay Podcast. You can watch some of our videos if you prefer to catch them that way on YouTube. And until next time, adios.
Oh, bow, yeah.